Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the NXT Stand and Deliver post show. We are live. My name is Ango, and today I'm being joined by Billy. I don't know why my chat is like that, but hey, not a big deal. I'll figure that out in a second. It's like all over the stream. What up, Billy?
Oh no, what's going on, brother?
Shit, what a pay-per-view, man! I was just like, I'm chilling. I'm feeling good. I really enjoyed the pay-per-view. It seems like everybody else has enjoyed the pay-per-view. We got a lot of people in the chat saying 10 out of 10. I'm excited to talk about it. I'm very excited to talk about it. You know, it is what it is, man. It's like it's a crazy time. WWE NXT really delivered a banger of a pay-per-view.
Absolutely.
So we're going to talk about it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're joining us live, make sure you click that subscribe button. And you're definitely going to want to do that because, quite frankly, the continuation of pro wrestling coverage never ends on this channel. Like, dead serious. Like, I'm being so honest when I tell you guys this. Like, we are absolutely killing it. Tons and tons of videos, tons of news, tons of reviews, tons of rumors, tons of content, shorts. Also doing the TikTok thing as well. Billy, first impression, man. What did you think of the show? Like, what do you got for me?
First impression delivered in every sense that I wanted it to deliver. I thought the show overall was a amazing show. I loved the ending. I was a really big fan of Darkstate and the family. We'll get into that. I was a big fan of Soul Ruca. Just overall, Hank and Tank too. I mean, just so many things that they delivered that I wanted to see personally, so very happy.
Yeah, man, it's pretty crazy. I'm getting a little technical issue at the moment, so let me just fix that really quick. But if you want to talk to everybody while that's going on,
absolutely,
that'd be great. I see a lot
of 10 out of 10s, 9 out of 10s, 10 out of 10. But guys, I have to say this show overall, like I was just saying a second ago, it delivered in so many aspects. It delivered on the storytelling aspect. It delivered on the wrestling aspect. You just kind of got a piece of everything, and that's kind of why me and Ango, we come and we do these live shows. And I have to send home how important like a show like NXT is, and how much that they really do. I know not many people, and granted, a lot of people do keep up with it, but not everybody does. And that's why I just want to say that NXT, I mean, I've said it numerous times, by far, down the card is just the best WWE show that there is, with no mess-ups. Like, they just deliver every single time. It never fails. I'm a huge fan of what NXT is doing, and Stand and Deliver just proved that more and more. You got to see a lot of cool stuff, whether it be the Women's North American Championship match, or whether it's Ricky Saints and Ethan Page going out there and putting on a complete banger. And you can say what you want about it, and I know people went out there and they said what they said during the match, but overall, those are just two really good pro wrestlers that went on and had a really good match. The main event, just amazing. You got the storytelling aspect in the Darkstate match. Like, there's just so much to be happy about with NXT, and I can't stress this enough. NXT, to me, hands down, is probably the best show that WWE currently has. And it was funny because a long time ago, I never actually watched NXT the way that I do now, and I wasn't fully indulged in everything that was happening. And, you know, me and Ango, we would sit and have these conversations. So finally, one day, it was like, oh, okay, well, let me just go check it out. Let me try it for a couple weeks just to see if it's something that I'm really going to appreciate. Sure as shit. Favorite show, hands down. And Ango had been preaching this to me for a very, very long time. And, you know, I was live over on my channel for the Stand and Deliver watch along. And, you know, just so many people in my chat were also feeling the same thing, the same vibe. Just overall outstanding. I love it so much. But yeah, the main event was better than Dynamite. Oh, geez. I can imagine with Ango here, that is something that we'll talk about, considering, you know, in the first match, there was some AEW coverage, if you will. So that was kind of interesting. One of the best NXT shows I've seen in a long time. That's interesting, man. That's really interesting. You know, I'm not sure. I don't want to go as far as say, like, oh, it was one of the best or anything like that. It was a really good show. storyline wise and just up and down the card. 10 out of 10 for me. If I'm being quite honest, I'm a very big fan. But yeah, no. Let's check this out. I'm just reading over the chat, guys.
No, I mean I'm gonna agree with you while you're talking.
Oh, beautiful. He's back.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm still working on this technical thing, but
Okay.
yeah, I mean, listen, I think you kind of hit the nail right on the head, but I'm actually going to disagree. I think this was one of the best NXT shows they've ever had.
For sure.
I think this
Like
I think this was near flawless. If I'm being honest, like I genuinely feel like this was near flawless. Which is huge because that's exactly what you want to see. You want to see a great show, and I think WWE gave everybody the good wrestling here. Everybody, they got their good wrestling, but also at the same time too, not only was it the good wrestling that they got stories and continuity and I appreciate that from them. Honestly,
Yeah.
I feel like this was they did a really good job of making me excited to watch again. And so for me personally, like I can't lie. I can't hide it. Like I'm super intrigued to see what happens now, on Tuesday. So definitely excited about that. A lot of great things. It looks like I fixed this,
Cool.
which is good.
Cool.
I know we got a couple super chats too, and then we'll get into the nitty gritty. Toledo Channel kicking things off with 100 rupees. He says, inject some triple threat on Oba. He turns into a beast. Also, Axiom versus Hank Tank. When everyone says face versus face never works, underestimating his villain. And I really want to say, like, what really impressed me with NXT today, in all honesty, man, this is the truth. I know some people may not want to hear it, but they took NIL talent. We're talking about a show that was a large percentage of the performers on this card did not have a wrestling background before going to NXT. And Hank and Tank were a perfect example of getting over organically, going out there. I sure as hell did not think WWE would have the balls to keep them, get the belts on them or anything. And that was, not only was it a very, very nicely produced match, it had so many different great spots, so many different elements that truly made it so damn good. And Hank and Tank stole the show, man. The crowd was crazy. And it just goes to show you that people were interested in them. People were ready for them. People were excited to see them. And they really delivered. And then you can't argue against this, man. I'm not going to debate with anybody here. Oba Femi, Javon Evans, and Trick Williams. The match that I was actually not that excited about. I mean, it was a great build up. To me, I felt like there was just so much other stuff on the card I was excited about. And this really, really freaking sold me, dude. It sold me so well. And I think for WWE, listen, you saw what happened with Javon Evans. He went out there, he dominated. And because he dominated, in turn, he even made Oba Femi look incredible. And that to me was just one beautiful, beautiful, beautiful match. Those near falls, I mean, really took me out of my element for a moment. I couldn't tell what the hell was going to go on.
Dude, I was popping everywhere.
And that to me just makes me thrilled, to be honest. That's like one of those things where I genuinely, I don't care what anybody says, man. Those are the kind of moments that get you hooked up as a fan, because they really made me believe that Javon was going to win. And congratulations. I'm a big fan of Javon Evans. Obviously, I know who he is. I've watched him as Jay Malachi in the Indies. Sorry, my phone's freaking out.
I was like, yo, what is that?
Yeah.
It sounded like a cat.
No, it's not a cat. I don't have a cat. I have a dog, though, and she's upstairs, and she's been a good dog. She's been a good puppy.
My dog's downstairs.
Yeah, but I think they sold me on Javon Evans being a world champion in this brand. He is the future of the brand, and that kind of match with Oba and Trick, it really delivered, and I'm super excited about that.
Yeah, well, I think that's something, to follow kind of what you're saying there. It delivered in all the places that you wanted to, and I was kind of in the same boat. The build was really good, but it wasn't something necessarily I was fully behind, because the whole card on NXT was just fluently really, really good. Whether that had been the women the women completely did a outstanding job in that fatal 4-way match, but even their build was really good. You had the gauntlet match with Hank and Tank. That was really good, which ultimately led in the story that they were telling before with all the people coming in. And, there was importance on that. There was just kind of importance everywhere up and down this show. But, ultimately looking at Oba Femi, Trick Williams, Javon Evans, those guys completely, and I'm just going to say it up front, they stole the show. That match was everything that I wanted that match to be. It's everything that I thought that match would have been, too. Just given the talent that was inside of that match. And they delivered in every way possible. I loved it. I loved it up and down, man.
Yeah. Shout out to the Salino channel for that super chat. He follows up with another super chat for 100 rupees. He says, do you think that Ray's injury was before the show? Because in Andre the Giant Battle Royal, El Grande Americano attacked Phoenix. Anyways, Phoenix will face El Grande. I don't think it was before the match. I think Rey Mysterio, there was a moment where it looked like he was hurt and he was speaking to Rey Fenix. When you watch SmackDown, it kind of looked like he was directing Rey Fenix what to do because they obviously had to call some sort of audible. They finished the match completely fine. Now, the word around town is that Rey Fenix will not be replacing Rey Mysterio because, well, El Grande Americano is probably going to win the match, right? So they probably don't want Rey Fenix losing the match. But what I would say is this. If I'm WWE, there's two things I would do if you're going to call an audible. I would have El Grande Americano tag team with Brutus and Julius Creed against like Rey Fenix and Dragon Lee, and you could put somebody else in the mix. Or you can have Dragon Lee replace Rey Mysterio, go out there and have an episode.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah. Dragon Lee kind of go replace it because Dragon Lee can lose that match, and Dragon Lee gets a moment at WrestleMania. Why not?
Exactly. Yeah, give him a nice singles match. Right. And then I think when Rey is back, you do the mask versus mask match. I think that was a really good topic with the JD roundtable. So I would be up for that.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I don't hate that. Love it.
Yeah,
love it.
Shout out to Tolino channel for the super chat. Guys, if you want to support the show, you guys want to tell us your thoughts and opinions, you guys got questions you want answered, go ahead and drop a super chat. Definitely going to be a fun stream. Billy, one of the things that I absolutely loved about Stand and Deliver was the match quality. Because I'm very big on storytelling, and they did a very good job of setting up stories and setting up, planting seeds and doing things of that nature. But what they did today was they gave every match a lot of time to really go out there, and they produced these matches in a way where the match quality was so good, but they didn't sacrifice the storytelling aspect. And for me personally, that's just something I greatly appreciate, because when you look at Axiom, right, probably getting called up to the main roster, Ricky versus Ethan, great way to kick off the show. Ethan's probably going to the main roster. Giulia probably going to the main roster. Stephanie retained, and it's a fantastic match, and Jaida Parker looks good in the process. But now there's a little bit more, right? The North American Women's Championship ladder match, a phenomenal match. But what's even better is, Zaria and Sol Ruca. My pick was Zaria. You and Phil picked Sol Ruca. And what's really...
I picked Thea Hale.
Oh, you did pick Thea Hale. Phil picked her.
Ruca.
Yeah. So what was really cool though is they had a fantastic match, and then what do you get? You get that potential Sol Ruca with Zaria heel turn, right? They did the spot on the ladder. So all these matches happened, but they didn't sacrifice any part of the stories moving forward. And I just think this is, it's so fun for the internet wrestling community to kind of bag on NXT, but I put it out there on Twitter, and I'm sticking to my word, and I'm not trolling, I'm not bullshitting, but this was a very, very well-paced card, a very, very well-produced card. All the stories, now with Stacks turning on Tony, I'm super geeked about that. By the way, Darkstate, I've said this. I'm like, I don't know about Darkstate. I'm not sure how they'll do if they transition from NXT to the main roster. Even today, I'm still not sure about that. That didn't change. But I see Osiris Griffin go out there, and clearly this guy is
dominate.
Joshua Black came out. Now he's Osiris Griffin. Like, I don't know what the fuck it is about these NIL talents, bro, but they are insanely good. And shout out to the NXT Performance Center, bro, because the WWE PC is creating stars like this. And now it's like, I want to see more of him. I want to see more of what Darkstate can do. But at the same time, too, even with Tony D'Angelo losing, okay, you talked a big game about, Stacks being the leader of Darkstate. We didn't see that. Maybe that gets revealed at a later time. I don't think that will be the case, but hey, what was my big complaint that stream, Billy? What did I say?
That Stacks didn't have anything about him that was exciting or influential or anything along those lines.
Yeah, and now look, he carried himself incredibly well and performed incredibly well. Okay, you gave me what I'm looking for. So now let's see what you can do. And I think that is such a cool part of the show. Literally, I'm having a hard time finding a flaw watching this show.
Yeah, I mean, when you look up and down the card, right? I think there was only one thing that really stuck out to me that I just questioned a little bit, and that was the Cora, Jade, Roxanne, Perez thing. And that wasn't even on the main card; that was on the kickoff show.
Yeah.
But when I think about things that just necessarily like why did we do that? That was the only thing I genuinely seen. It was like, okay, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me, and I'm really happy for Tatum, Paxley, and Gigi Dolin, by the way. Very, very much deserving of that. But I think the cliffhanger here is Roxanne and Cora. We've seen this before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just I guess I question a little bit, like, what's the plan here?
Yeah, and I think, but okay, so here's the thing. I texted you, right? And I said, I wonder if they have heat.
I wonder, too.
I wonder if they have heat. But here's the thing. I am so curious now that guess what I got to do? Tune in on Tuesday. Yep. Tune in on Tuesday. So there is a lot of that too. I definitely agree it was questionable, but I look at it as questionable, but I don't look at the result of the match being questionable.
No, the result wasn't. It was only that specific thing that I thought was a little questionable.
So why did Roxanne walk out on Cora? Got to keep watching. And that's storytelling. That's the element of storytelling that hooks me in. It's like, okay, maybe they have some heat. Maybe there's an issue with WWE and them. I don't know. But at the same time too, the way I'm looking at it is like, hey, they walked out. We got new faces winning the tag team match. And I like that. I like the idea of fresh wins and people getting an opportunity. And there's always this belief that I've had when watching wrestling. And it's always been this idea of like, hey, if you're going to do PLEs all the time, which WWE does so many of them, give us something different. Like, I understand Stephanie and Oba Femi retained, right? And I'm fine with that because we got new number one contenders for the women's tag team division, which I didn't expect. And Hank and Tank won. You did something risky with Stacks turning on Tony D'Angelo. I'm cool with it. Listen, they teased some stuff, but I didn't expect them to have the balls to break up the family. That's the point of what I'm watching though. Like, that's what I want to see. I want to see them do something different. And I think Shawn Michaels does that very well. And I think they play it safe in certain areas, but in certain areas it's like, hey, let's take that risk.
Okay. It's also very okay to play it safe in some aspects, right? Like, I don't think we can hate people for playing it safe. Just you have to be risky sometimes. And I think Shawn Michaels definitely took, kind of following what you said, took a real big risk, breaking up the family, because that was, that felt like certain. You know what I mean? Like, the family felt like something that was going to go up to the main roster together for a really long time. And then to ultimately have what happened, it makes me think like, okay, we're willing to change it up a little bit. And I like that about NXT. And I think NXT has done a really good job, just as I can't express this enough, but it has just fluently told these stories, and they've told them in a way that it's just entertaining immediately.
Yeah, I agree. I want to give a quick shout out to Pedro Rivera. He dropped a $4.99 super chat. He didn't leave any comment with it. But I did want to say thank you to Pedro because that was very, very nice of Pedro. We have our super chat goal active, guys. So if you guys want to contribute and help drive the conversation, let us know what you think. If you think it was good, bad, whatever, we're going to talk about it. And we want to talk about the things you guys want to talk about. So feel free to drop one of those. Talino Channel follows up with another super chat. And he says, with 100 rupees, everyone is a standout at Stand and Deliver because they have to give their 1/3 or 1/4 or 1/6 in the effort. All they had to give has their spots and effort. So I'm trying to decipher your comment, and I think really the main point that we can make, and Billy, please tell me if you agree or disagree, but I think what was really nice about Stand and Deliver this time around was the fact that, yes, WWE kept the belt on Stephanie. Yes, they kept the belt on Oba, but this show did a very good job of propelling many people forward. I think Jada Parker looked outstanding. I think Javon Evans looked outstanding. I think Hank and Tank looked outstanding. I think, Gigi Dolin and Tatum Paxley, incredibly looking today. Like I'm looking at Tatum Paxley as a huge standout. I think she is going to kick ass on the main roster. I want to see her get called up. I don't know if that's women's tag team or not, but I thought she looked great. I think there was just so many people. Sol Ruca and the finish for the ladder match. We all know that Sol Ruca's talented, but like this was her moment to really shine, and she took advantage of it. So I just genuinely believe this show did a really good job of letting people stand out, regardless if they won or lost.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. The standouts here, I mean, it was just all across the board. So many people look good in loss, which is crazy, right? Even Ethan Page. Ethan Page is another example of somebody who looked really good in the loss. It was a clean finish, right? But I think we can all agree that, hey, I think Ethan Page is going to go up to the main roster, right? I think it's time for him to do that. I think he's done and accomplished everything that maybe he needed to in NXT. And now, we, like you said a moment ago, Sol Ruca, even Zaria. Zaria looked amazing. She took that spot and really ran with it. They're going to tell that story. You know what I mean? Like, just so many good things came out of what this was. So you could say what you want about people retaining the belts and oh, well, they didn't do what they necessarily needed to do. At the end of the day, like, so many stars were propelled. And one of mine and Ango's biggest criticisms here was like the main event scene, of the NXT championship and what that's going to look like. And now I've just been told, like, hey, you could trust us.
Yeah.
We're going to figure it out. And that's important to me.
And I feel like NXT really does do that, to be honest. I feel like they do figure it out. It's just the thing that was kind of lackluster to me, about a month ago we had talked about. I was like, just the main event scene is the one thing I'm like, I'm not sure. Something just feels weird about it. But now it's like you look at NXT and it's like, okay, corrected.
Right.
And that's huge. That is absolutely huge. And I love that. Absolutely. Sure. So yeah. Definitely more to talk about. We got to give a shout out to Tolino Channel for that super chat. Dante Sinatra dropping a super chat for $1.99. He says the PC NIL athletes really showed out on this show. Yeah. It's how do you not look at that and say, damn? How?
I mean, just even looking at Tank, right? And just, his football background and stuff like that. And just, I just kept thinking to myself, I was like, dude, this guy's so athletic, like all across the board. He's so fast. And it just didn't look like he slowed down. I'm like, oh my good word. This guy gets it. You know what I mean? And maybe a year or 2 years ago, however long it was, this guy wasn't even a pro wrestler. You know what I mean? So you love to see people like this really come out and shine at the end of the day.
And it's funny too, because one of the things I say all the time, and it was the thing that I love about NXT, and I loved it with NXT 2.0, and I loved it with FCW, and then NXT back in 2012, and now it's the same thing with Evolve. I love watching people's progression into something. I got a lot of flack from the IWC because I said specifically I'm watching Evolve over Dynamite that night. But the thing is, when you watch NXT and you see somebody like Hank, who is playing a security guard on TV, and this guy is an NIL talent he comes in and he's being a security guard. He doesn't really have the look. He doesn't really have it figured out. He's very, very, very green. And they put him on TV, and then, all of a sudden he gets a job with NXT and he becomes a part of the roster. And then over and over and over again, you're just like, I don't know. It's just kind of not working out. Like something's not clicking, right? And maybe he's not developing. But then throughout time, you start to see, okay, this guy's developing. And then you watch this tag team match with Axiom, and you see, holy shit, Hank and Tank literally just had probably the best tag team match in WWE this year.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
So it's, I don't know what the hell they be feeding these people in the PC, but
they're feeding them something.
And these NIL talents are coming out there and they're looking good, man. And
because it's sorry to cut you off. I just want to get this point out real fast. Dude, there was just a moment when I was watching the Hank and Tank Fraxium match, and I was like, how weird is it that these guys have gone out there and like in front of so many people? T-Mobile Arena is not a small arena, guys. And they go out and they put on these crazy matches in front of so many people, and then people like Hank and Tank, and I really want to just hit home on this, who the experience level isn't all the way there, and they just go out and they don't miss a step. Like, that to me is the craziest thing in the world. I don't know why. I just, for a moment, I like stopped and couldn't grasp it.
Yeah.
I'm like, these are just, 2-3 years ago, these are just normal dudes. You know what I mean? That genuinely had no history with pro wrestling or anything like that. And suddenly they're out there in front of, 17, 18,000 people. It's crazy to me.
And I'm going to throw this out there too. I can't remember who said it. I saw it in your chat during the watch along, but somebody had said like they kind of remind you of Public Enemy when they were a tag team.
Yes.
And I seen that and like, dude, these guys got it. The look is cool. The charisma's there. They're so charismatic. And Hank and Tank, they just have this amazing chemistry. And actually, one of my favorite moments of that match was obviously the finish was incredible. But when you're watching and the crowd is completely just lost in the match, like they are shouting, they are going crazy. When Hank goes for that suicide dive and goes directly onto the commentary table, and then eventually he comes to break up the pin to save the match, and that's when everything changed. Talk about the crowd reaction to that, bro.
Dude, I was like, it was just so funny because Corey Graves on commentary was so funny with it too. He was like, he's dead. I'm like, yo.
What a spot, what a moment, what a sequence, and their finisher. And just, I loved that. That was a very, very unique moment, and they earned the respect from wrestling fans everywhere. But
for sure. And I don't even think it mattered at the end of the day.
No.
They just went out there and put on a good match.
But what's cool is like, dude, I want to see them more. I want to see.
For sure.
There's a lot of confidence in these guys. Now I have a lot more confidence in these guys after this too, and dude, I think it was a very, 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 very cool way to show the world that like these NIL talents should be taken seriously. And
absolutely.
And for anybody, seriously, like I genuinely mean this, like if for anybody who doubts like this WWE, collegiate background thing where like they're going after college athletes and stuff, please don't, because this performance center is cooking, bro. They're cooking. And you see like Soul Ruca goes out there and you see all these people going out there and you're like, damn, bro. Damn, it's not even just like good characters and good stories, but it's like, okay, they can work a little bit and learn a little bit more about being characters and cutting promos, maybe getting a little bit more organic with it over time. But
sure.
But if everybody wants to talk about what professional wrestling is, it's you got to be able to sell. You got to be able to suspend my disbelief. Yep. And there was moments where I was like, there's no way Fraxium is losing. And then, holy shit, all these near falls. I'm like, okay, hold on. And then they actually pinned to 3. And then what was really cool was Fraxium, they don't shake hands. They give him a big hug. And we're talking about a team that beat some of the best tag teams in the world. And so
literally,
this is, it was incredible. Very incredible performance. And shout out to Dante for that super chat, because I think that's the one thing I learned by watching NXT throughout the years is like the NIL talents. But then I go back to, Osiris Griffin. Look at this guy. This guy comes in.
Monster.
And Color James wasn't in the match, but he had some good spots on the outside and looks great. And like WWE giving these NIL PC talents a chance. And some of these guys, they just don't have a wrestling background, but it's clicking for them. And it just goes to show you that what Shawn Michaels is doing and what A-Train is doing and Norman Smiley and all of these people in NXT, like they figured it out.
Down there.
It's working
down there.
Do you agree with me, disagree with me when I say that this was better than Dynasty?
Oh, brother, I fully agree with you. People would probably expect me to disagree, but my God, this show was amazing.
Yeah,
dude. Here's the thing, right? When you have good storytelling, and people might get mad at this, but I don't care right now. when you have good storytelling up and down the board, it makes it very easy to watch. So I'm going to use myself for an example. I do a 3-hour watch along on NXT Stand and Deliver, and I'm sitting there and I'm watching it, and I'm like, man, like this is just flowing so fluently, and nothing is making me upset. Nothing is making me be like, oh, like this is dragging. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
WWE kind of hit home there. Here's this, and we're going to go fast pace all the way through this 3 hours. You see, with AEW, there's kind of been a disconnect somewhere, whether it be between the fans or, Tony Khan and what they're doing there themselves. There's just been this disconnect that I can't fully grasp, but it is there, which turns what is supposed to be, a fun 4-hour show in Dynasty, right? And just any AEW pay-per-view in the last, couple months. It's supposed to be this fun 4 hours where you just kind of drag a little bit. You're like, man, I don't know what it is. And some things are good, you know what I mean? But everything isn't necessarily hitting home the way that you want it to. I think that makes it tough. So, yeah, I have to sit here and agree with you that this was hands down easily so much better than what Dynasty was, just strictly based off the fact that I was just excited for the 3 hours. I wasn't tired. I wasn't dragging from it. I was involved. I was there. You know what I mean?
I was very present as well. And I agree. It seemed like, and that's why having less matches on a card matters too, because I feel like everything had a serious emphasis going into the pay-per-view. But I just love, and I say this as a very, very big NXT fan, and I think it's pretty synonymous. I think a lot of people know that with me, but Stand and Deliver was such an easy watch, and I was invested the entire time.
Yes.
Which I'm not going to lie. If you asked me a month or two ago, would I have had the same excitement? The answer wouldn't have been the same. But it got progressively better as time went, and then it was very clear what was happening.
Yeah, no, I mean, I fully agree with you there, just strictly based off of, we said it, 2 months ago, we were talking about how the main event scene wasn't really feeling the way that we wanted to, and what were they going to do? How were they going to get them back? All these things. And in NXT, they just delivered in all the places that they needed to, man. Yeah. They really did.
I agree. Shout out to Dante for that super chat. Miles Jubert Roberson, stuck in the mid card for 23 months. Shout out to Miles. He says, and now you have the aspect of Stack's influence on the family turning on Tony. Soul Snatchers were sick. I'm loving Chemical X, and I hope they get the title. Chemical X, put them on the main roster. 1000%. I don't think. Listen. Monday after WrestleMania, SmackDown after WrestleMania. I'm just giving you guys a little bit of some tea. WWE has a lot of returns, a lot of debuts. There's some things up their sleeve that nobody is seeing coming. There's people who are debuting straight on the main roster. There's going to be some call-ups. There's a lot to get excited about.
Ango dropping bombs on us.
We're dropping bombs here, but let's get it one thing straight. Do not forget about Chemical X. They were great. Okay. They were great.
They were.
And I'm hoping whatever happens, they have their championship match Tuesday on NXT. I'm hoping whatever happens is they shock the world, win those titles, go to the main roster.
That'd be fire.
That's what I want to see. And then regarding Stacks, he's going to have, I think there's a story of his influence on the family. We saw him storm out in the car, and Luca Crucifino, chased him, and I want to see what happens there now. That's something I'm really considerate of. I want to see, okay, you guys took the risk of breaking up the family. Let's see what you do.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so I predicted a certain thing that, we don't know is 100% true or not yet, but we did get part of what I was saying down. And I think Stacks just kind of getting that light. I don't know what it was or what I necessarily seen in Stacks there for a minute, but he has the look, you know what I'm saying? And I think he can do it on his own. As much as I've predicted, I'd like to see him go with Darkstate, I do think there's a world where he could just naturally have influence, and that'd be the easy story to tell, right?
Yeah.
He just turns heel, has this influence on them. They all turn on Tony. Tony goes up, whatever, right? There's always that. That's a very solid, simple way to do it, and I'm not mad at that. You know what I mean? NXT has opened up these different avenues for things to succeed. This being one of them. Whether you joined Darkstate, whether you just turned on Tony, and that is what it was, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I'm intrigued with either or. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very happy all the way around, and I love that Stacks did what he did. I think he needed that through his character development, to take Stacks to the next level.
I agree. I want to shout out Tolino Channel as well for a super chat. He dropped 100 rupees. He says about the TNA International title. I want that title to be for every promotion. Let wrestlers from NOAH, AAA, NWA, NXT hold it with the NXT branding. So I think we should talk about that for a second because TNA does have the international title. We did not have any TNA presence tonight at the pay-per-view, which I'm okay with. I'm not mad about at all whatsoever. We've actually been seeing more of an influx of NXT talent on TNA programming, which is actually more beneficial to TNA anyways. But I do agree. I don't know how you feel about that. But the reason why I am bringing this up, I don't know if TNA would ever want to get into the world of having the TNA title, go through different companies and other people holding it. They obviously have partnerships with people. But because you bring up Stacks, I liked what I saw from him. So if this means we can get Stacks in the mid-card title picture, and maybe if they don't want to put against Ricky just yet, maybe we can get Stacks going to TNA and competing for that title at some point. Not right away. I don't want Macklin to drop the belt, but I'm just saying it wouldn't be a bad idea for a WWE guy to get their hands on that title at some point. And, they can kind of go on an excursion, which, by the way, Stacks would benefit from, for sure.
Yeah, Stacks is the perfect person that would benefit from something like that. Kind of like you said, I don't know if TNA would actually do something like that. But at the end of the day, I think just overall kind of instantly, obviously, I think Stacks is going to tell that story with Tony, right? He'll probably go have a match with like Luke Crucifino and stuff like that. And I think overall kind of what you get here is you just created like a new mid-card guy that is going to be a challenger for somebody like Ricky Saints, right? And then you're really going to see Stacks develop more. So there's just, again, so much good that came out of today. I love it. Yeah. I love it.
Pedro Rivera coming through with $4.99. He says, great show. One of the best PLEs of 2025. I agree.
Yeah, hands down. Hands down. That was so much fun to watch.
I have a very difficult time to argue that. That's very difficult for me to argue. I genuinely agree with that statement.
I had so much fun watching it, dude. We had so much fun over on the watch along, bro. So much fun.
Well, it's nice too because honestly, with WWE NXT, it's like today's a big day for wrestling, and WrestleMania is already long as it is, and it's also a holiday weekend. So it's like, holy shit, this is so much work. You know what I mean? Like, there's just so much happening, which I think sometimes it could be a drag, if by having to sit there and watch wrestling. So when it's a good show and you're invested in it, it's nice.
Well, that's what I'm saying, dude. It was so cool to see NXT just get the shine, to where if you watch that, you don't think that NXT got left in the dust here. I'm here to tell you that hands down. The only people who say those things about NXT are the people who are not tuning in weekly and watching the show for what it is. I'm here to tell you, if you watched that show, you enjoyed it, and you think a lot differently about NXT now going out of that. And that's big.
100%. Definitely agree with that. Shout out to Pedro for the super chat. Tolino Channel coming through again with another 100 rupees. He says Bailey Humphrey, Tyra May Steele, Callie Armstrong, the depth of women's division. Evolve, I believe, will help bring male talent like Cartwheel. Yeah, and if you look, this is a beautiful statement. Look at the NXT women that are currently on this card. There was more NXT women on this card, by the way, than there was men.
Yep, there's 18 women.
So when we talk about how great the NXT women's division is, it's valid. It's very valid point. But now you do have some of these people from LFG or from Evolve. They are going to be rock stars when the Giulias and Stephanies and Jordynne Graces of the world get called up. So this is how WWE continues to cycle. I swear, man, I know I get ridiculed for this, but this is why I loved early days NXT. This is why I was not a big fan of Black and Gold 2020. I didn't like the idea of just a million people being signed and barely being used and barely creating stories and barely doing anything, because this is what it's all about. We know Jordynne Grace and Stephanie and Giulia didn't have to go to NXT, but the cool thing is they go to NXT for a short period of time, and look at the people that benefit from working with them. Look at Jaida Parker. I swear,
I'm a big fan of. Who I'm a very big fan of now. That I am going to continue to follow now.
But Billy, the crazy aspect of that though, I was a big fan of Jaida even when she started off with OTM, I was like, okay, she got a little pizzazz, like something about her that's dope. You know, she got a little bit of that aura that's cool. I want to see her develop into something bigger and better. But like, you put that rookie who has no wrestling background with Jordynne, Stephanie, and Giulia, and all four of them get to look great. By the way, I was watching that match, and at one point I literally thought, bro, give it to Jaida. These three women don't need the belt. Give it to Jaida.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. That was kind of my original thought process when I picked her, when we talked about our predictions. Jaida Parker, there was just something about her. I was like, man, she's like this homegrown NXT talent. I was able to connect with her right away. I understand why maybe they didn't do it right at this very moment, but I do see it in her near future. You know what I mean? I do think that it is something that is going to, it's coming to Jaida Parker.
Yeah.
For sure.
No, I'm with it, bro. I'm with it. Tolino Channel follows up with that with 40 rupees, and he says, what's your opinion on GCW Bloodsport? GCW Bloodsport is the one indie show that I make sure I watch every year. That is a very, very fun event. I love that style of wrestling, the catch wrestling, shoot style type stuff.
Very MMA like.
Yeah, it's very dope in my opinion. I did watch it this year, and I was very happy to see the WWE involvement in it. I know this isn't like the most popular opinion because a lot of people in the IWC hate the idea of WWE and GCW working together. But Karrion Kross, Pete Dunne, Tavion Heights, Natalya, I mean, they all went out there and freaking absolutely killed it. GCW Bloodsport was great again, and I'm excited for it, man. I'm excited to see, more of that, and I'm excited to see that WWE's got that involvement because I think it even gave Bloodsport a little bit more pizzazz this year. But I did want to say, one thing I did tweet about was Natalya. And
yeah, I was just about to bring that up to you.
Yeah, Natalya absolutely killed it at Bloodsport. Her presentation, everything, her aura, her gimmick, her packaging was like just flawless. Put her on WWE TV, please. Like, give me that version of Natalya because that was badass, bro. That was so badass. And
yeah, I went and watched a clip of it. It looks sweet as hell.
Yeah, it just, bro, sick, very sick,
for sure.
Very sick. Shout out to Tolino Channel for the super chat. Guys, we're almost at our super chat goal. If you guys have anything you want to say, go ahead and drop those. I think we should talk about something. Yeah. So during WWE NXT Stand and Deliver, there was some breaking news that came out. And of course, we've just been talking about how great of a show this was. And we talk a little bit about TNA and WWE and everything that's happening there. But today's news is so cool because it just goes to show you that WWE is opening their horizons and they're kind of opening the gates to working with other companies. WrestleVotes came out with some breaking news today that I just want to share with everybody because me personally, as somebody who does watch a lot of wrestling outside of WWE, I like the idea of them, coming together and doing stuff. But it has been revealed today that WWE will be working with AAA, which
amazing.
Which is awesome because, as you guys know, TNA also works with AAA. So there's a couple things I want to talk about here, but WWE will be doing NXT Worlds Collide at the Kia Forum on June 7th with AAA. So WWE now has a partnership with AAA. We've seen them work with Pro Wrestling Noah. We've seen them work with GCW. We've seen them work with TNA. Now they're doing a PLE with AAA. And I get it. There's going to be a huge conversation about AAA versus CMLL. Some people are going to, I understand that maybe AAA isn't at its peak at the moment, but I just love the fact that WWE is working with another company in this case.
And just broadening the horizons, man. Broad those horizons. Don't be the company that just lives in a bubble. You know what I mean? And it looks like WWE has completely went away from that. I love it so much, man. I don't have much to say on it. The one thing I will say is it's exciting. It's fun to be a fan right now. And just overall very happy about all the things that are happening within WWE. And specifically, I just want to say this, NXT. I love NXT. I love what they're doing, bro. I can't stress it enough.
Well, and so the thing that I love about this, though, and I do, unlike you, I do have a lot to say about this because it's covering YouTube, like doing YouTube for 15 years and seeing how drastically different WWE is today. It makes it even funner with this being my full-time job. And so when I see WWE being willing to work with another company. In my opinion, the way that I look at it is, okay, yeah, I understand AAA doesn't have a lot of top stars. And let me make this really clear. I am not interested in Alberto El Patron walking his ass back into WWE here.
Yeah,
so let's not do that. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. But I do like the idea of, okay, well, WWE works with TNA. TNA works with AAA. TNA now has an international championship. Can we maybe get a triple threat match with Steve Macklin and somebody from NXT and somebody from AAA? Can we get Vikingo to make his appearance, his debut on WWE television? Vikingo was somebody that a lot of people expected him to go to AEW, and nobody would have ever expected him to go to WWE. There's always that rumor. There's this rumor that kind of sticks around, you know, hey, he's back from injury. Maybe WWE will bring him in. TNA works with him as well. But let's say WWE doesn't sign Vikingo. You're telling me we can't get some sort of badass match with Vikingo at WWE NXT Worlds Collide?
Right.
That's what I want. There's certain things that you can do now with this partnership. And for them to do a Worlds Collide pay-per-view with AAA, I understand CMLL is mostly being perceived as the better promotion. I don't live in Mexico. I watch what I can watch when I can watch it. But I enjoy Lucha Libre in general. I watch it all whenever. To me, there's not like a tribalistic mindset. Oh, CMLL versus AAA. I don't care. To me, I just enjoy watching wrestling. So,
right.
You know, and then obviously CMLL has a partnership with AEW. But to me, to see them doing a partnership together opens up a floodgate of saying, wow, some fresh matchups we've never seen before. That's one thing. The second thing is, there's a lot of talent in NXT who could benefit from working a different style or working with a different promotion. Because now that means, okay, they do a pay-per-view. You know what you have to do before the pay-per-view? You got to send some of your talent to their shows.
So yeah, they got to show up at the shows. Yep.
So now that gives some talent and an opportunity to do that and expand, which I think if you're an NIL or PC talent, what a beautiful benefit that is. Because
I was just about to say that, man. There's so many people that get to develop from this and get to learn. And like, you know, we talk about people not being utilized. Like that kind of goes away when you have so many different partnerships, right? If you do them correctly, I have to preface that. If you're doing the partnerships correctly, that allows talent that isn't being used on the weekly basis on your main show to go to somewhere like TNA on a Thursday, you know what I mean? And go showcase over there. Or it means, you know, maybe a talent from Evolve coming up to NXT and maybe not getting utilized right away. Okay, well, let's put them in AAA and let's let them go do their thing in AAA and they'll get shine there. Like, just so many awesome things that come out of this, bro. So many.
And that's the thing, right? Like, there's many, many, many years of my life being dedicated to covering pro wrestling.
Yeah.
There was no talks of WWE working with other companies. You know?
No, it didn't exist for so long.
So now TKO is like, hey, like we're down to do this. And hey, maybe that's because of AEW. Maybe that's because of AEW. I don't care. That's fine with me. Personally speaking, that's fine with me. I don't care if AEW is the reason why WWE does it. That's even better. Thank you, AEW, for existing, because I feel happy about that. But then I watch NXT Stand and Deliver, and I see like Javon Evans goes out there and kills it, right?
Yep.
As somebody who watched him as Jay Malachi in Deadlock Pro Wrestling to now being this guy in NXT who's great, you're telling me you wouldn't want to see him versus Vikingo? You're telling me like nobody would want to watch it? Of course people would want to watch it. And the cool thing is NXT has some legit killers in the ring. Like they're badass. AAA does as well. You know, the number one thing WWE has to do here is do a good job of introducing who these talents are, why they are the way they are. You know,
why they're doing what they're doing.
For sure. And listen, the Forum in LA, they're going to do a good job of selling tickets. They're going to do a great job. And the best part about it is we didn't get this version of WWE before. This was not WWE, the one that we knew. This would have never happened in Vince McMahon's era. And by the way, this is where Shawn Michaels, I think, really excels with NXT. He's kind of spoiled a little bit. Triple H didn't get this love, this kind of freedom when he was running NXT.
No, he did not.
So it seems like WWE has actually been really good about, you know, setting Shawn Michaels up for success. And I think that's a great thing, because now as time goes on, it's like, hey, what if we get, you know, and this is the reality. It's like these partnerships exist. What if we get one big super show every year with WWE, Pro Wrestling Noah, AAA, TNA? NWA. WWE's working with NWA now. Natalia Neidhart is going to NWA. They're working with GCW. You're telling me we can't figure out a way to do one massive show with all these companies?
And I can imagine they will. I can almost guarantee it.
Oh, and by the way, why not do it during WrestleMania week when everybody's already in town?
Yeah, know what I'm saying? It just makes sense. You make it a very, very big show for all these indies. You know what I mean? And everybody makes their money.
It's really, and you can't deny so many guys in WWE have come from AAA. They have that experience. Some of the guys on the main roster, if you want, you put them down there too for the pay-per-view. It's not a big deal.
Right. Yep.
So there's always a lot of possibilities there. It makes me really excited. But yeah, man, WWE AAA, the announcement came during, the reveal came during Stand and Deliver. I'm geeked about it. Hopefully you guys are too.
You texted me too, and I was so confused. I was like, what is he talking about?
Yeah. Pedro Rivera dropped another super chat for $4.99. He says, I give WWE props for building stars, starting with Evolve and LFG. It's the ideology, man. That's the way to explain it. When you look at Stand and Deliver, when you look at NXT, when you look at the main roster, we saw Carmelo Hayes won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, right? And Carmelo was, a lot of people don't know this, he was Christian Casanova in the indie scene, came to WWE, and it was very clear him and Braun Breaker are like your two future main eventers in this company, right? For sure. What's great is WWE doesn't have to rush him and Braun Breaker to the top of the wrestling card for the main roster, but they're on the main roster. You build them up.
And you have somebody like Carmelo Hayes who won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. And I know that's not like everything, but obviously WWE looks at it like it may be important to them. So, hey, it's cool.
Look at Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed won it, and then he got a massive push. Yeah.
Come on now, folks. Come on now.
But here's the thing. This is the cycle, bro. This is what I'm trying to explain is the cycle. Because now you have a scenario where your Braun Breakers, your Carmelo Hayes, your Solo Sikoas all got elevated to the main roster. They're all doing stuff on weekly television. Eventually, there's going to come a point when they take the top of the card because the Codys and the Seths and Roman, they're all gone from the company. So then what's cool is WWE's ideology is, hey, we have Evolve, we have LFG, we got this NIL deal, we got the WWE ID deal. So now we're going to constantly have a rotation of new stars constantly. And this is how WWE's thinking, in my opinion, is the right way of thinking. There is no guarantee that people could wrestle forever. Roman Reigns is retiring in a year or two. Seth Rollins, this guy's body is beat to shit. Like, he can't do this for 20 more years. Randy Orton can't do this for 20 more years. Cody Rhodes can't do this for 20 more years. You need to create new stars. And, when Carmelo Hayes came from the indie scene to WWE, I remember during COVID, it was a match between him and Andre Chase. I want to say it was in Beyond Wrestling. But I remember watching Christian Casanova. It's like during the COVID time. It's outside. This is when wrestling was like pretty much dead. But I remember watching it, and I remember being like, man, like I've seen this guy a little bit here and there, but this match specifically just stood out to me. Then he comes to WWE. He wins the breakout tournament and eventually becomes a champion. Goes on to do great things with Trick Williams, and I'm like, okay, this guy. It's very clear WWE's high on him. Now he's on the main roster. Okay, well, you need your next Carmelo Hayes. Okay, they bring in Javon Evans. They bring in this person, that person. They got Osiris Griffin now from the NIL program, Cutler James from NIL. There's all these talents. Now the point is, can we put them in some good stories, some good matches where they can showcase and get better and develop? And by the way, anybody who watched FCW, anybody who watched NXT in 2012, not every single person develops. But I would make the argument in 2025, WWE has never been better when it comes to the influx of people coming into the system, learning the system, and actually showing promise. Like, it was very obvious. Bro, Angelo Dawkins is a perfect example. When he came into NXT in the early days, he had multiple gimmicks. They tried out things. It just didn't work. When they finally put him with Montez Ford and the Street Profits, it clicked. Everything clicked. That dude was in the Performance Center for years trying to figure it out. They were trying to figure it out. They never gave up on him. Now he's one of my favorite acts on the main roster.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But at the same time, too, there was other guys in NXT at that time that were just simply not that great. You know, and you knew that. Right. But it's cool when you watch.
Not everybody works out.
Yeah.
Not everybody works out. It happens.
But that's the thing. I feel like now there's a lot more I think this person will be successful. I think this person will be successful.
Yes, I do believe in 2025. It's a little bit easier to look that WWE is constantly trusting the process and they're constantly putting one foot forward to make these stars. You know what I mean? So I think yes, you before to where it was okay. Well, this person may work out, this person might not. Today, you don't necessarily have that same problem that maybe you had 10 years ago or whatever the case. Either way, it's just so fun to see, and it's so exciting now.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to Pedro Rivera for the super chat. Toledo Channel coming through with another one for 100 rupees. He says it's 2:13 a.m. in India when Stand and Deliver ended. YouTube said Ango is live. This is my last chat today. Have a nice WrestleMania, both of you. Toledo Channel, thank you for the love. I appreciate it. Shout out to you for staying up until 2:13 a.m. in the morning. I'm hoping you're watching WrestleMania, but at the same time too, I cannot understand how somebody could do that because it is much, bro.
Bro, go to bed.
That's tough, man. That is so tough. And WWE is clearly like they've taken over this entire Saturday. Which it's it's
dude, I'm so excited. After this, I get a 1 hour break. I get a 1 hour break. Bless you.
Thank you. Yeah. 1 hour break, and there is no break for me because I'm working throughout the entire day, which is fine. I love WrestleMania weekend, but it's insane, man. And there was people who, by the way, haven't gone to sleep because they were watching the Hall of Fame last night at like 1 a.m. And
bro, like my God, what are we doing?
WWE just fully took over the weekend, and not to mention, like, there's people who do watch the indie stuff. I think the indie wrestling scene this year is a little bit. I
think it's weird because Ring of Honor is not there.
Yeah, Ring of Honor is not there. This week there's been a lot of buzz. Deadlock Pro Wrestling (DPW) did a indie show during WrestleMania weekend, and they had a lot of success with that.
Got on DPW.
And they taped it. I know they have it for DPW on demand, which is cool. And I've talked to people in attendance, and obviously I'm friends with those guys, and there's been a lot of cool stuff over there, which is great, And then Prestige Wrestling and West Coast Pro, they're all working together with DPW, so they're all delivering some really cool stuff together. GCW's been killing it. Sabu had his final match in GCW. So it's like there's a lot of stuff happening wrestling this wrestling wise this week that's also not WWE, which I think that's the crazy part, man. Like it's not. When I went to WrestleMania 34, I went to Evolve and I went to Progress. I went to both of those indie shows, and then there was I want to say there was one with TNA. It was like through one of the conventions. I forgot what it was. I don't know if it was WrestleCon or whatever it was.
Just one of the conventions.
Yeah, and like I remember that they had like a show or whatever. And I remember as far as I went to GCW. I went to one GCW show over there. I can't remember which one it was. But other than that, I was at NXT, SmackDown, Raw, WrestleMania, what else? Hall of Fame. And then
dude, WWE just takes over.
Yeah, and then I did WWE Access, which is now called WWE World.
Right.
So I did all of that, and I remember that was only one night of WrestleMania. And excuse me, but that was something I felt like, holy shit, that was a lot. And now it's even more because WWE is doing all this, and then on top of that, they do the roast of WrestleMania, and then they got like. I don't know what it's called. It's like WrestleMania After Dark. I don't know. I saw Liv Morgan and Raquel and everybody dancing on stage and shit. So that's like some VIP experience club type thing. They go to a party.
Yeah, they're going to the club.
Yeah. So there's just a lot of stuff this year.
For sure.
And it's hard to stay up with it. So for Toledo Channel, brother, God bless, because
go get some rest.
Go get some rest. It is a lot. And I get it, man. I totally understand. It's just there is a lot. There is definitely a lot.
There really is. There really is.
Billy, let me ask you. People are saying, "Wake up! WrestleMania hasn't even started yet." No, I get it, man. I get it. It's hard. Tired, man. Waking up, sleeping, barely sleeping, working. I woke up yesterday at 2:00 in the morning. And then I had an idea for a video for a TikTok, so I was like, all right, bet I'm gonna.
What's the video at now?
Let's see. On
Yeah,
YouTube, YouTube, it's doing extremely well. On TikTok, it's at 198,000 overnight.
Damn.
Let's see what it's at on YouTube, because I know I did. On YouTube is at 25,000, and then I did another one today that's at 13,000. So just constantly, bro, I get random ideas at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, all right, screw this, I'm gonna go do it.
Yeah, I seen the video this morning. It's like, yo, what?
Yeah, it was
Genius
fun.
too. Genius idea.
Bro, sometimes it just be like that. But that's the thing. I'm so like deeply in this stuff where it's like, I just love it. I love it.
It's hard to pull yourself out, man. It's hard to pull yourself out.
And I love it. And yeah, you get a little tired. And, for me, it's like, okay, maybe I make a little bit less videos today because we're going to go live after NXT and then, of course, WrestleMania. But I'm excited, man. This is a big day. NXT Stand and Deliver was amazing. Billy,
Yep.
I'm not going to keep you any longer. I think this is the perfect way to go out.
Cool.
I know me and you have barely had any rest. We're just grinding and grinding and grinding.
Grinding it out, baby. Grinding it out, baby.
But I think it'll be very interesting to talk about WrestleMania tonight.
For sure.
I will see you after for WrestleMania.
Yes, I will see you after WrestleMania.
And you are doing a watch along for WrestleMania?
I will 1000% be there. I am doing a watch along tonight for WrestleMania. My girlfriend, she's going to stop in a little bit. Got to do mom duties, but she will be there with me as well, kind of tackling this with me. And then me and you right after. So, like I said, I did the NXT Stand and Deliver watch along. I came here. We're doing WrestleMania watch along, and then we're following up and we're doing the WrestleMania post show. So no rest for the wicked, And then we got the holidays tomorrow, and we got WrestleMania night 2 tomorrow, and we're going to be doing a watch along for that too. Doing a post show. No rest, brother. Let's do this, man. We're killing it.
Love it, love it, love it. Guys, make sure you follow and subscribe to Billy at Billy TKO. Yeah, man, I'm excited to talk about WrestleMania tonight, and then we'll do it tomorrow night, and then back to the 12 p.m. time slot Monday through Friday. So,
yes, sir.
Cool. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. We did reach our super chat goal. Everything is looking good. Glad to see the stream was working. I appreciate you guys all stopping by. We're going to take a little bit of a break because, like I said, it's been a long day. But we'll be back later. Appreciate you all for stopping by, and we'll see you guys next time.